You think I've got a sharp tongue? I just tell it like it is. If someone can't handle it, maybe that's their problem. Relax.
Huh? Looks like we're a few people short today.
Morning, friends. Singcho said he wants to take some time and focus on writing poems, so he'll join us later.
Noelle has other duties today, so she asked me to tell everyone not to wait up for her.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. What about Kelly Roy, though? She said she'd be here. I got here really early, but I haven't seen her yet.
Are you talking about the girl with the blue hair? I saw her on the bridge near Dihua Marsh during my morning training. She looked a little upset, so I didn't want to disturb her.
Upset? Oh no! What should we do? Was it something we said last night? Oh, Paimon's worried.
I agree. If she's run into some kind of trouble, I'd like to help her.
Huh? You're all going? Then I'm coming too.
Shall we start with the bridge? We're all here a little early, so there should be time.
Good idea. We'll be back in a jiffy.
The wind rises. Squall and fury.
Oh, so this is the place? We ran into her here yesterday, too. She looked like something was weighing on her mind then as well.
It's also not far from where we were dropping those leaves.
Huh. Leaves?
Oh, right. We were so busy matching couplets we forgot to mention.
Interesting. I wonder, could Miss Callie Roy have been the one who wrote that poem on the leaf?
Hmm? What makes you say that?
Oh, sorry. Nothing. Well, nothing concrete. Just a hunch, I guess. It's just, that poem on the leaf kinda gave me the same feeling as when I saw her yesterday. So much sadness.
Now that you mention it, this is upstream from where we found the poem.
Huh? Hey, look! Over there! Another leaf! Wow, you're right! And this one has writing on it too! After that leaf! Why does it have to float so quickly?
The wind rises.
Can't you just fly over and grab it? But Paimon can swim! What if Paimon accidentally falls into the water?
stopped.
No!
Behold!
We finally caught it.
Are the words still legible, or have they been washed out?
Looks like the ink's intact. Let Paimon take a look at what it says. Huh? This is related to the poem we wrote in reply yesterday. She must have picked up one of our leaves. Spring. Young boy. It's looking a lot like Callie Roe was the one who wrote this. She seems to care a lot about that story, huh? Actually, when Paimon first saw her, Paimon was wondering, do you think... is it possible that she's,
Based on the current and accounting for wind strength, everyone, please follow me. This should be far enough upstream. Let's split up and search the area.
Callie Roe! Callie Roe!
Quit following me. Huh. Huh. Too slow.
Ah! She's surrounded by hilly churros! Let's go save her!
Bow your head!
Breath of the flame! Boom! Callie Roe, are you okay? What's that? It's a huge water droplet!
This is exactly what I saw the other day.
Huh? Why are you all looking at me like that? Oh no! My body... is it...
That voice is definitely Callie Roy's.
How did this happen? Please wait a moment. Oh no. Did I use up too much energy?
How did you... What's going on here? Miss Callie Roe, are you some kind of adeptus?
No. I'm so sorry for deceiving you all for so long. Actually, I'm an Oceanid who flowed here from Fontaine long ago.
What's an Oceanid?
Ah, the Grandmaster has mentioned them before. The Oceanids were the familiars of the former Hydro Archon. They all fled Fontaine after the Archon died and settled across the world.
That's correct. Though, to tell you the truth, I can't even completely recall how I found myself here. I have a vague impression of my ancestral home, but I can't recall clearly anything I saw on my journey. All I know is that by the time I arrived in Mondstadt, I had lost most of my power and couldn't even sustain a physical form. Eventually, I settled in a place called Springvale, where I slowly began to regain my power. Springvale is a serene and beautiful place. The water that flows through there is clear and pure, just like the hearts of the people who dwell there.
So you're the Spring Fairy of Springvale?
Yes, Diona, and I remember you too, you know. When you were little, you often came to the spring at night to speak with me.
Really? You're not messing with me, are ya?
I always thought that was just a local legend.
Your favorite little pillow, the fish one? Its name is Bubbles, is it not?
Yup! All those childhood memories. So they weren't just a dream. So, if this is true, then all those things written on the leaves.
I see. So you were the ones who found my leaf. Well, you are correct. The Spring Fairy and Heart of Clear Springs is me.
No wonder you were asking us so many questions about it. So, the boy from the story...
Is Finch. I always loved listening to people's dreams, and still do to this day. Whether they're beautiful, sad, or filled with emotions I couldn't understand at the time. One night, a little boy came to the spring. The tears that fell from his face were more fragile than a moonbeam and purer than the morning dew. I like humans and wanted to understand them better. I also wanted to make sense of the feelings contained in his tears that were, then, a mystery to me. Yes, we often met under the stars, sharing our stories with one another. Sometimes, we'd stay up all night and see who would hear the first bird chirping from the boughs, or the first cicada of summer.
Aw, that sounds lovely.
But one day, just like the book says, I saw an emotion in Finch's eyes that I couldn't reciprocate. I felt out of my depth, in uncharted waters. But I knew all too well that we Lockfolk face a very different fate from that of humans. Whatever was happening, I didn't want it to lead to Finch writing a chapter of his life that he would later come to regret. So, I fled, and never appeared before him again.
Oh, Caliroe.
My strength returns very slowly, and even after decades, I can only sustain a physical form for a very short time. I once hoped that Finch would be able to move on, and meet me when the stars in the night sky have all gone out. But after seeing so many people's stories, and hearing about all their dreams, I have gradually come to understand Finch's heart. This feeling of wanting to respond to his feelings is surging relentlessly in my chest, and I can no longer restrain it. But I'm also scared. Scared that if I go and see him now, I'll bring nothing but disappointment, and even more pain when it comes time to part.
Oh.
It really is a difficult choice.
Please go see him.
Huh?
I know Grandpa Finch, and he's a really kind person. When I was struggling to learn how to draw maps, he was always encouraging me, telling me not to give up, always keep trying, and get out there and have some adventures. He often tells me stories about his past, but I've never once seen a look of regret or sadness in his face. And even though Grandpa Finch loves adventures, he still stands there by the spring, every day, as if he's waiting for something. I believe that he's serious about his feelings for you, Miss Caliroe. He's never stopped hoping that he'll see you again one day. So if you want to see him too, then what are you waiting for? Huh? Oh, sorry. I think I got a bit too excited and I just thought, well, it just sort of came out.
I understand. That settles it. I've decided. I will go back and see Finch.
You will? Amazing! That's great!
But I'd like to ask all of you for some help.
Sure. Just say the word. We'll help you any way we can.
Would you come to Springvale with me and help to bring Finch to my side? I cannot maintain this form for much longer, and I'm worried others will see me how I was just before.
Leave it to me. I'm really close with Grandpa Finch.
Also, please keep Finch's in my secret. I wouldn't want Springvale's tranquil waters to become agitated on account of all this.
Your secret is safe with me.
I won't tell anyone. That's a promise.
Great. I can't thank you all enough.
What's wrong? Are you gonna turn back into a water droplet?
No, I'm sorry. It's just that my mind's racing. As much as I want to talk to him again, I'm still worried that I won't have the words when the time comes. A poem? Okay, good idea. I'll write him a poem. And it will be called Heart of Clear Springs.
The wind rises.
Are you okay?
It's nothing. I'm just scared that I won't be able to maintain this form much longer.
Okay, don't panic. Wait here, Caliroe. I'll go fetch Grandpa Finch.
Take it slow, Diona. Finch isn't a young man anymore. He's not as steady on his feet. I can still hold on a bit longer.
Okay, stay strong. You can do it.
Behold!
Grandpa Finch!
Is that Diona? You're back early today.
Today's your special day, Grandpa Finch. Can you come with me?
Oh? Well, where are we going?
Over there, to the waterfall.
Did you catch a nice little fishy?
Just come with me already. This is extremely important.
But I promised your father that I'd go to
Grandpa Finch!
All right. All right. No need to get worked up. I'm right behind you.
That's more like it. Now come on, I'll help you.
Draft's daughter is just like him when she's on a mission.
Grandpa Finch. Take your time.
What's all this? What are all these people doing here? Even Mika's here? How's work been going lately? And even some friends from abroad, if I'm not mistaken. You do know that today's not my birthday, don't you?
Greetings, Mr. Finch. My name is Chong Yoon. We all met at the poetry gala, and... well, there's someone we'd like to introduce you to.
Finch.
That voice. Callie Rowe.
I didn't think you'd still remember.
Oh, I remember. I remember all right. How could I ever forget? Although your appearance is different than I recall. Back then, you looked like you'd stepped right out of a fairy tale. But I'm one to talk. Of course, a fairy from a fairy tale can change forms. But in your eyes, I'm probably the one who's changed beyond all recognition.
Oh, even after all these years, you still know just what to say to make me laugh.
I thought you were only able to appear in the dead of night. There have been times when I've wondered whether it really was all a dream.
I'm sorry I kept you waiting for so long, Finch.
Oh, it can't have been that long. It's been but the blink of an eye, really.
Finch, would you like to hear a poem I wrote for you?
A poem? You write poetry now? Well, of course. I'd be delighted to listen. I'll hang on every word that leaves your lips.
In that case, let me read you a story about the Spring Fairy. Far from my native land I roamed. In streams I slept, many seasons I met as the sun set and rose. I searched for a garden to call a home, and the moonlight ebbed as the water flowed. A soft breeze beckoned me unto a spring. Sleep, weary wanderer, your journey is over. May the dancing petals sweeten your slumber. At dawn, I hummed the melody of a distant stream, and the songs in the night serenaded my dreams. A boy's tender tears trembled through the water, stirring me more than any starlight sonata. He wove me a wreath from past petals and future buds. I crossed beyond the veil of dreams to the realm of flesh and blood. Look at the love that shines from his eager gaze. Answer the call of his heart, lest this moment go to waste. The kittens and fireflies invited my heartstrings to sing, but I was a stranger to the melody of mankind, and knew not how this tune should begin. As the river of dreams trickled into the ocean blue, every time a crystal fly flapped its wings, older it seemed he grew. But I learned to fathom human ways each stumbling step I took, and clouds of confusion became crystal clear in the vulnerable verse I wrote. As seed yearns for soil and trees for the sun, a once foreign melody inside my heart sung, and it cried out your name on every string it could strum. Now, I give my dream to you. May it be in your slumber a sweet spring to quench your thirst. Now, I hand my heart to you, praying my belated promise might meet, still with your trust.
Yes. This is how I remember you from when we first met. All those years ago. It really has been a long, old time, hasn't it?
Finch,
It's okay. I understand. Your poem, it explains everything.
Thank you, Finch. Please, take this.
It's so beautiful.
This is a droplet of water condensed from my own power. Finch, I don't have a physical form like humans, and I can't stay by your side. I don't know how long it'll be before I can change back into human form again. But as long as this droplet remains with you, our hearts will always be connected, no matter the distance between us. I will always be one with the spring. From this day onwards, if you call me, I will meet you in your dreams.
It's so romantic.
You've really learned a lot, haven't you? And you don't even mind that the kids are watching.
Does it bother you?
How could it possibly? This is the happiest moment of my life. I just worry that once I go to sleep, I won't ever want to wake up again.
Huh? Don't say that.
I'm only joking. It seems that you still have much to learn.
Is that right?
Grandpa Finch and Caleroe look so happy. Oh, what a perfect moment.
Diona, thank you for fetching Finch for me. I've never forgotten you either.
I used to chat with you a lot. Wasn't it ever annoying?
Of course not. You are one of the truest friends I have in the entire world. That's why I gave you your gift, so that a part of me could always be with you.
Huh?
Wait. So is Diona's ability to mix delicious drinks from disgusting ingredients a blessing from this water spirit? And if so, is it also possible that my pure yang spirit is a gift from some being?
My physical form is about to disappear. Finch,
Yes?
I've never regretted meeting you or deciding to talk to you that night. Not once. All these long years. Not for a single moment.
It probably goes without saying, but neither have I.
Although, it was different from in the stories. That fateful night, I never gave you that kiss. This gift that represents my promise and my love. I give it to you now.
Huh?
It's okay, everyone. She's gone now.
What? But Paimon didn't get a chance to say goodbye. Grandpa Finch.
Don't worry now. She hasn't gone far. Just like she said, she'll always be one with the spring, by our side and in our dreams.
There's no need to exchange pleasantries. It's rather pathetic to force a conversation just to occupy silence. The wind rises.
Oh? Hey, you're all back! And it looks like you're in much better spirits than before. Hootow's a step ahead. She's already talking about printing a poetry anthology. She said she can't wait for everyone's final words because I'm itching to pull the trigger. By which I assume she meant she eagerly anticipates receiving everyone's freestyle poetry submissions to help her close the deal.
Where have you all been? I've been waiting here forever.
Perhaps they lacked sufficient inspiration and wished to have an emergency communion with nature. And with any luck, I'll bet they heard some fine poetry along the way.
Tone deaf, Bard! Does this mean that right from the start you... Oh, right from the start, you said you would treat us to a nice meal!
Huh? Did I? Very well. Since the traveler agrees, then it looks like I can't escape this time. Diona! Dear Diona, could I trouble you to fix us a couple of your delicious beverages?
You wish. All right. Well, normally I'd never agree, but since I happen to be in a good mood today...
Huh? So, just what have you guys been up to all this time? Why does it feel like there are some unspoken words hanging in the air here that everyone is privy to but myself?
Really? Must be the breeze. You're reading way too much into it.
Yeah, that's right. We're just, taking a walk. Inspiration walk, since it worked so well last time.
So even Mika's in on it? Chongyun, how about you tell me what happened on the sly? I've just remembered that I heard about a haunted house recently that you'll definitely want to check out. I'm willing to bet that even your pure Yang spirit won't be able to scare off these demons.
I appreciate the gesture, but no thanks. Not this time. And I'm starting to think that maybe this pure Yang spirit isn't such a bad thing after all.
Huh? What the? What's gotten into you? Okay, that confirms it. I call shenanigans. Something big definitely went down here.
fury. Quit following me. Too slow. There's no such thing as pure freedom in this world. Even the wind cannot blow on forever. Quit following me. The wind rises.
Looks like we got lucky today. There's hardly anyone around.
What should we do next? Oh, Traveler, can you still hear the voices from the fountain?
Perhaps leave the investigation to me. I need you to take a few steps back and keep a safe distance.
A safe distance? Neverlet, what exactly are you? Whoa, it's glowing! you for bringing us here, Monsieur Neuvillette. The Court of Fontaine is truly incredible. There's so many things I've never seen or heard before.
I understand your excitement, but there's no need to thank me. Although I have responded to your wishes, it was not without personal interest. Melusine's special sight make them especially suited for joining the Maréchaussée Phantom. I'm certain you'll become an indispensable part of Fontaine's detective force.
I know, but I'm really glad to be of help. Not only can I repay you for your kindness, but also, it feels like my life has become a lot more meaningful.
But a meaningful life also comes with its risks.
It's definitely the safest to just stay in the village, but I want to see the outside world nonetheless. In truth, I've never really understood the purpose of my existence, or what I'm capable of contributing to this world. For almost 20 years, we've stayed in our village without finding any answers. That's why we wanted to leave our village and look for the meaning of our existence elsewhere.
I understand your confusion. In fact, I feel the same way. I too came here for an answer to my questions about my own existence.
Really? Could you tell us what we should do to fit in as you did? The truth is, many people threw rocks at us today and told us to go back to our village. It hurt a lot when they hit me in the head, and I tried really hard not to cry.
Logically speaking, both time and effort are essential when different species attempt to peacefully coexist. It will be a difficult road ahead, with countless obstacles to overcome. Different identities and ways of thinking all contribute to strengthening the barrier between one another. Removing it will be no easy feat. There aren't many suggestions I can share, because just like you, I haven't fully integrated into this society. Despite my social status, I am still an outsider.
Oh, I see. Let's all do our best then. I'm confident that we'll find the meaning of our existence one day.
I believe in you, but you shouldn't lose sight of the difficulties ahead. If you run into any trouble, I suggest that you inform Vautrin, the captain of the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol.
Huh? Is he the person I met in the Palais Marmonia earlier?
Yes? Do you have any concerns?
That stone-faced human. He didn't even bother to look at me when I tried talking to him. It felt like he wasn't interested in anything but work.
He is an earnest man. There will be plenty of opportunities to work together in the future, so please try to get along.
Hello. Can I help with anything?
Thanks, but no need.
Oh. Hello, I'm Carol, a Melusine. Is there anything you need help with?
Get away from here! I'm calling the guards!
Please, calm down. I don't mean to cause any harm.
Hard to say.
Yeah, we should probably stay away from these monsters. Haven't you realized? Strange incidents have been increasing ever since they came.
Why should we trust this species from who knows where anyway? I can't believe Neuvillette allowed them into the Court of Fontaine just like that.
Exactly. That so-called Chief Justice even granted them official positions. Not only that, but they're now responsible for investigating cases as well. I swear, there's some hidden agenda at play here.
Go away! Quit acting innocent!
I'm not leaving. I won't let you say bad stuff about him. We joined the Maréchaussée Phantom and solved lots and lots of cases. We've never done anything wrong.
Solving cases? With Neuvillette in cahoots with you? You could have fabricated it all, and no one would know! So tell me, how can you guarantee that you Melazines aren't involved in anything that occurred recently?
Didn't I tell you before? Don't go advertising if you're not a good talker.
Vautrin?
Aside from spreading unjustified rumors, if you continue insulting members of the Mare Chaussee Phantom, the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol has every right to subject you to interrogation. There have indeed been an increase in cases recently, perhaps due to the shifting currents of conspiracy, and I understand your concern. However, there's been no evidence pointing towards Melazines being involved.
Even the captain of the security patrol is on their side. Nervilette's newly reformed police force is already corrupt to the core.
How can two completely different species possibly coexist?
You heard that?
Yeah. I don't understand. Why won't anyone believe us?
There have been rumors saying that you were born from calamity, and that you inherently bring danger to those around you. There are countless negative rumors about you floating around in Fontaine. It's near impossible for you to become a part of this society. Best if you give up before it's too late.
Monsieur Nervilette said that we needed to put both time and effort in. I don't know how long it'll take, but I can at least try making my best effort. I still want to try a little harder. Thank you for bailing me out earlier. Okay, I won't be taking any more of your time. I painted a lot of flyers last night, so I have to stay and hand them out to everyone.
Give them to me.
You're not gonna take them away, right?
We'll hand them out together. The faster we get this done, the sooner we can head back.
Monsieur Nervilette, what's this?
Medals of Peace, awarded to you and Vautrin. Thank you for your continued dedication in the past 5 years. You've taken one small step forward in helping Melazines gain the trust of humans.
I think I'll pass.
Hey, don't say that! We wouldn't have made it this far without you! It won't be long before Melazines begin living peacefully with the humans! Just the thought of it makes me happy.
Don't keep your hopes up. We've barely scratched the surface. There's still a long way to go before that dream of yours comes true.
You blockhead! Don't ruin the mood!
Vautrin brings up a good point. The trust humans have placed in you is still very fragile. Any small incident could undermine the hard work you've put in. Please be on your guard for the next few days.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got it.
Medal of Peace? Peace isn't going to give us back what's rightfully ours.
Are you sure we should do this? We're no match for Nervilette, even with all our powers combined. What if...
Nah, not gonna happen. As long as he remains in his position, there's no chance he'd take us out personally. There are rules even he must comply with in the political sphere, unless he wants to become an enemy of Fontaine. So quit worrying and just go ahead with it. I've already planned out the murder. Once we lay the blame on the Melazines as the person who brought them to the court of Fontaine, Nervilette will be left with no excuse.
I guess you're right. Ugh. If he just left things the way they were, it never would have come to this. But he's forced our hand. Time to teach him a lesson. Melusines can't be trusted! That goes for Nervalet, too!
Peaceful coexistence? What a joke. Get out of the court of Fontaine and don't ever come back!
The results of the investigation are in, Captain Vautrin.
Go on.
There is no direct evidence, but reasonable inference indicates that the ones controlling the situation are supporters of the old regime, whose interests have been undermined by the reform. They tricked Miss Carroll into going to the crime scene and pressed charges against her. After that, they incited panic among the people in order to make Monsieur Neuvillette confess to his mistakes and yield up power. The guards were stopped by the enraged mob and couldn't intervene in time. Miss Carroll chose to sacrifice herself to pacify the situation.
And she called me a blockhead. A little investigation would have cleared things up. Why didn't she wait until we'd established the truth? She didn't have to prove her innocence like that.
The situation had rapidly escalated to a physical altercation between infuriated citizens and the guards. Miss Carroll might have thought there was no better plan.
That is indeed something she'd do.
Captain Vautrin, should I present these results to Monsieur Neuvillette right away?
There's no need. Notify the guards to restrict public access to all information.
Restrict access to... Wait, are you planning to...
There's something I've never told Carol. I had a little sister named Ilaria who passed away when I was very young. She's just like Carol in every possible way. Innocent, kind, always believing the best of people. People like her are the most vulnerable to deception and betrayal. From the moment I met Carol, I knew that she'd be easily manipulated by others. I kept a cold demeanor and tried lecturing her into giving up.
Looks like she was unfazed by that.
Yes. In fact, some of her spirit must have rubbed off on me instead. Because I too began working towards that pie-in-the-sky dream of hers. I should have known. Those cowards don't have the guts to confront Neuvillette. They even avoided causing trouble for me. They were after Carol all along. Can you understand how I feel? Right now, there's only one thought on my mind. Only through bloodshed can their debt be repaid.
I understand, but I'm certain Monsieur Neuvillette wouldn't accept that as a solution.
That's exactly why we need to keep this a secret. Give me the list of suspects. What happens after this has nothing to do with any of you. I will take responsibility for everything.
Did you know? They're hearing a major case today, and the criminal is Captain Vautrin of the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol. Apparently, he resorted to personal measures to seek revenge for Carol and settled the score with the group that framed his friend. Hey, why aren't you saying anything?
I'm thinking... we should try our best to bail him out when the trial commences.
Bail him out? Why?
Shh, keep it down! Haven't you realized? Both Vautrin and Carol are Nervillette's most trusted subordinates. After everything that happened to Carol, Nervillette's guaranteed to do everything he can to keep Vautrin around. Besides, now that the old regime has been uprooted, Nervillette's status is secure as can be. As long as we redirect public opinion, Nervilette will be able to give Vautrin a reprieve. The benefits are endless.
Vautrin sought vengeance for his friend for a valid cause. This represents the justice he upholds. Please, think about it. If the same thing had happened to you, wouldn't you feel the same way he did? Yeah, that's right!
This whole thing started because of those despicable cowards who levied false accusations against Carol. How could Vautrin be declared guilty for seeking revenge?
Monsieur Neuvillette.
Mr. Vautrin is innocent! He's innocent!
Order! I acknowledge your arguments. Vautrin, your revenge could be seen as a form of justice. I understand your decision, which is why I cannot help but feel regret and even grief about the judgment I must now impose. Personal justice does not equate to justice as defined by the law. To execute your plan for revenge, you abused your authority and conducted informal executions. Your actions have thus violated the law. Therefore, you will be declared guilty.
What?
That can't be! Monsieur Nervilette, please give this a little more thought. He has done so much for Fontaine.
Vautrin, my friend, is there anything else you want to say?
Neuvillette, what have I done to deserve this? I've closely followed every one of your orders. Can't you see? Everyone in this room believes that I'm innocent. Why can't you just let me off? Is this what justice means to you? Answer me, Neuvillette!
Order. Since there have been no further objections, the Oratrice will now deliver the final verdict regarding the charges against Mr. Vautrin. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Mr. Vautrin will be declared guilty.
Goodbye, Monsieur Neuvillette.
This all happened because of Carol's naive ideas.
How can different species peacefully coexist anyway?
What's wrong? Are you not feeling well?
Apologies, it seems like my memories got the better of me. I tried my best to suppress the power of Hydro within myself, but it seems like it still caused the emotions within the Fountain of Lucine to boil over. Due to my negligence, the overflow of emotions and memories must have affected you as well. Are you all right?
water dragon is more powerful than Paimon thought. Anyways, the last time we came here, the traveler only heard voices from the Fountain of Lucine. No emotions boiling over or anything.
It is as you said. This might be because I am different. It is not only the fountain. I can sense emotions from all waters in Fontaine. Rivers, lakes, and even the rain.
That sounds awesome!
But I rarely ever do anything like this. Emotions carried by water are always chaotic and disconnected. As an outsider, having my mind occupied with irrelevant memories isn't exactly a pleasant experience. Which ones? It's fine. I prefer not to speak of those memories. That does not mean I am deliberately hiding them. It was a coincidence, but perhaps it is a good thing that you saw everything in that form. You should now understand why I believe there to be a conspiracy behind all this. These two cases are much too similar. I felt like I needed to do something.
Paimon's starting to lose track of what you're saying. Don't leave Paimon out of the conversation. Paimon wants to help too.
Then let us get back to the point. While I was investigating the fountain, I discovered something strange. I did not sense too much hatred towards me within its accumulated emotions. However, I did find some resentment directed towards Kiara. If I remember correctly, it seemed to be related to a smuggling case. I don't know what caused this to happen, but it seems like there won't be a shortcut to finding the organization that may be pulling the strings here.
Oh! Didn't we read about that in one of the documents?
You've read about it? In that case, the resentment should have come from that incident.
Huh? What are you doing here? I was just about to look for you at the Palais Mermonia.
Navia! Nice to see you again! Is there something we can help with?
I've heard some things, but I'm not purposely asking around or anything. Don't worry. Rumors are abroad that someone's scheming against Melusines, and that you're investigating the case. So I told the Spina di Rosula to keep an eye out for leads. We've had unfamiliar faces showing themselves at the Fleuve Cendre lately. Maybe you'll find the suspects among them.
Thank you. Where did you hear about all this?
The Chief Justice out on investigation, accompanied by the Traveler from afar. No matter how you conceal your whereabouts, there will be countless eyes watching you. You talked to Kiara, but didn't ask her to keep things secret. People curious to know asked around for information, then it was only a matter of time before word of the threatening letter spread all across Fontaine.
So that's what Charlotte meant.
Indeed. I did not expect that this could be kept hidden for too long, but the rumors still spread faster than I imagined.
You know, it could be because you attract more attention than you think. Anyway, any progress with the investigation?
The suspects who threatened Kiara might have to do with a certain smuggling case, but it is still uncertain if there is in fact another party behind all this. We are planning to return to the Palais Mermonia to revisit some details and identify the senders of that threatening letter.
All right, then I'll round up the Spina di Rosula and follow up on their progress. Wait for my word. Ta-ta!
Neverlet, do you think there'll be any problems now that the word is out?
I have already considered that possibility, and I do not think that there will be any. As a matter of fact, once the word gets out, no one would dare to harm Kiara in broad daylight. What is more important is how the case is perceived by the public. 400 years ago, they chose to side with the old regime and direct their resentment towards the Melusines. I hope the same won't happen again. Let us head back to the Palais.
Strange. What are these people doing out on the streets so late at night? Did something happen? Let's take a look around.
Have you heard? Someone's plotting against a Melazine! This is 100% the truth. Even the Chief Justice is investigating in person.
What? That's it! Who's been threatening Melazines? Show yourself!
Our enemies are lurking in the shadows and won't easily reveal themselves. But no amount of hiding will keep us from finding them.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. The guards have already begun to take action. We can't just stand by and watch. Think about how much we owe them. Now that they're in danger, how can we just sit back and do nothing?
Everyone, please stay alert to your surroundings from now on. If you see any suspicious persons, report them to the guards immediately.
It feels like you've been following me this whole time. Did something happen?
We were informed that.
Nope. We just finished our shifts and happened to be strolling by.
Have you had dinner yet? Why don't we check out the new items at the dessert shop together?
This isn't a good time to be out and about.
Come on, don't act tough. I bet you're hungry too.
All right, let's go buy a cake or something.
You shouldn't ever skip meals, especially if you have another shift scheduled for later.
I heard even Nervulette's keeping an eye on the situation. This is the perfect chance to get promoted. We gotta make sure we give it all we've got.
Seriously? Were you planning to shirk your duties if Nervulette wasn't involved?
Relax, I was just playing. We've worked together for years now. If something happened to them, I'd be haunted by regret for the rest of my life.
That's more like it. We should stand guard until the criminal has been caught.
Come and fight me instead, you cowards!
Have you heard? Even the Special Patrol came to help.
Shh! Look! Is it that Nervulette? I think he's looking at us.
Looks like there's nothing to worry about.
This is truly wonderful.
So, wanna go over and say hi?
No, I should stay where I am. My appearance could give rise to unnecessary commotion. Let us stick to our plan and return to the Palais Mammonia. The faster we uncover the truth, the better.
Squall and Fury! Behold! The wind rises. Huh.
The smuggling case was solved by the joint forces of the guards and the Maréchaussée Phantom. This is the one. The list of involved suspects should be... Ah, found it.
What does it say?
The principal offenders Domenico, Inica, Yuna, and others have been caught. They have been sent to the fortress of Meripede following trial. Those with close connections or mutual interests with the offenders but who did not participate in the case will not stand trial. Among them, surveillance of Essan has ceased on account of his good behavior. All other personnel remain on our watch list.
So many names. Is the one who sent that threatening letter to Kiara on the list?
Yes, there is something suspicious about Essan, to be precise. It seems like he's closely related to the core members of the smuggling case, and he moves around without much restriction.
Monsieur Neverland, someone claiming to be from the Spina de Rasula just checked in with us. He said, and I quote, "We have located the suspect. They're chatting at the cafe."
Huh? How did Navia find them so quickly? We've only just figured out the suspect's name.
I too am perplexed. The cafe isn't too far from here. We should head over and take a look.
You think I've got a sharp tongue? I just tell it like it is. If someone can't handle it, maybe that's their problem.
Squall and Fury!
Over here!
Lynette's not joining us today?
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we can make any inroads with her. They should be at a cafe right now. Still, I don't think that Gemma's likely to open up to us. So, we need a contingency plan. Today, we'll be looking into a guy named Lorenzo, Caesar's former pupil and assistant. When Caesar passed away, all the stolen goods discovered in his home were confiscated and returned to their rightful owners. But Lorenzo was the only one privy to all his magic secrets, and he inherited his craft. Before long, Lorenzo was the next big magician in town, his fame surpassing even that of his master, and it made him very wealthy. He's since left the magic scene, though, and these days, he's a wealthy businessman with his fingers in a lot of different pies. I had to pull a lot of strings, but I managed to get him to agree to a couple of drinks with me. Be warned, though, I hear he's got a hair-triggered temper. We'd best be careful.
Too slow.
You neglected to mention that you were bringing 2 other people with you.
My apologies. These 2 are my assistants. When they heard that I was meeting with the former magic maestro himself, they begged and pleaded with me to bring them along. And if it's no trouble, a couple of autographs would really make their day.
Oh, forget the pleasantries, just sit.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the pleasantries, he says, but he looks pretty happy about Linny stroking his ego.
I only agreed to meet since we're both magicians. Do me a favor and cut to the chase. I have more important things to do than drinking.
Much obliged, sir. As it happens, the matter I want to address is also related to magic. Yesterday morning, a warning letter from the Phantom Weasel appeared on the entrance to the Opera House. He claims to be planning something for the same evening that I'm scheduled to do a magic show there. As such, I believe that I may well be his target. I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned. Naturally, any investigation into the Weasel starts with a few questions about Caesar, who...
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the Weasel and he's been dead for 10 years. So what if some sick creep thought it'd be funny to write a warning letter? It changes nothing. Are you trying to tell me you actually bought it?
Please, sir, no need to get so worked up. I do concede that a copycat is but one possibility.
Possibility? It's a fact, Linny. Look, my patience is limited, so listen carefully while I'm still willing to put up with you. The Weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so do yourself a favor and quit this investigation. It'll lead you nowhere. Look, if this affects your magic show in any way, I will personally compensate you for any losses.
Oh, sir, I'm honored, really. But this isn't about finances for me. My pride as a magician is what's at stake here, Lorenzo. Copycat or not, this person has thrown me the gauntlet, and I must meet their challenge head on.
Your pride? Don't mince words with me, boy. Just tell me, what exactly are you seeking to do?
I want to find out the Phantom Weasel's true identity. I have to know for myself what really happened 10 years ago.
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do with you, anyway? Look, you of all people should know that a magician never reveals their secrets. And in any case, dead men don't talk. So if you really care about your magician's pride, then you'll forget about Caesar and move on.
Uh-oh. This is getting awkward.
Lorenzo? Is that? Oh, it is you! I know that big, booming voice anywhere. What's up, my man? Wanna grab a drink with me?
Another day, I'm busy.
Oh, come on! You can't be all business all the time. You know what they say? Live fast, die young. You gotta learn how to kick back and relax once in a while.
If I wanted your life advice, I'd ask for it. Now get out of my face and go be drunk somewhere else.
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
Oh, hey! Edmondo. He and I are business pals. We worked together a bunch of times. This is your first time meeting him? Oh, he's always like this. Foul-mouthed and hard-nosed. Never heard a kind word out of this guy the whole time I've known him. And he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend, despite being, what, pushing 40, 30, something? Anyway, point is, a lot older than when he first got rejected by the girl he was into. And he's still into, from what I hear.
Shut up and get out of my face. Another word out of you and you can forget about doing business with me ever again. Do I make myself clear?
Sorry, I may have had a little too much to drink. All right, I'm gonna leave. Don't work too hard.
I think it's high time I made a move as well. If you really want to investigate this, Linny, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, that fell to pieces in a rather spectacular fashion. Any thoughts?
Totally. And what was all that about compensating you for your losses? Why would someone you just met make an offer like that? He's gotta be hiding something. And not like Gemma. She was a little suspicious, but this guy's definitely covering something up.
I think so too. We need to look into Lorenzo more closely. That guy Edmondo seems to know a thing or two about him. He only just left. Let's see if we can catch up with him.
Quit following me. Too slow.
You okay there?
Who are you? Oh, it's you guys. Don't worry about me. I must have had one too many. I just need to ride it out. I said way too much back there, didn't I? Yeah, I nearly talked myself into complete financial ruin. Note to self, no more drunken chats when Lorenzo's around.
So, he was serious about threatening to cut you off? Ugh, Paimon knew he was a bad egg.
Hey! Keep your voice down. Don't go prying into Lorenzo's personal affairs. Bad things happen to people who ask too many questions, or make an enemy out of them.
What kind of bad things?
Don't even ask. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to cut this conversation short. I'm not crossing that line again. And take it from me, trouble with Lorenzo is one thing you don't need in your life. You saw him flare up back there. I don't know what you said to him, but clearly it touched a nerve. That's not a good sign. You're too young for this. Don't get in over your head. I'm leaving.
And there he goes. What do we do now, Lenny?
Shh! I think we're being watched. Someone was listening in to our whole conversation. Don't say anything and don't look back. Any altercation in the city will attract the guards. We'd better take this elsewhere.
There's no need to exchange pleasantries. It's rather pathetic to force a conversation just to occupy silence.
You followed us a long way. Why don't you come out and introduce yourselves?
So you're Linny. And where's your sister? Ain't she with you today? Save us the trouble and go fetch her for us. Let's not drag this out.
Paimon doesn't like the tone of your voice, mister! Who sent you, huh?
Save your questions, missy. You ain't gonna need answers where you're going. Capiche?
Looks like we can't avoid this fight. Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope you're ready to back me up.
Don't worry, we got this!
Now disappear!
Insolent.
You're dead!
Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Vision wielders are always trouble. Intimidation ain't gonna work like it did on the lady.
Come on, let's scram!
Hey, wise guys! We ain't through with you yet! Oh, they got away! Did you catch what they said just before they left? Something about intimidating someone else. Sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic, and they've already done it to someone else, but who? You're right. She was injured when we saw her yesterday, and she acted like she had something to hide. Maybe she was too scared to tell us the truth because those guys had threatened her.
Well, if that's the case, she should be more willing to open up to us once she learns that those thugs won't be bothering her anymore. Let's head back to the cafe and see if we can get any information from her.
Quit following me. The wind rises.
Gemma?
You again. What is it this time?
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you, and we gave them a taste of their own medicine. So, you can relax now. We're here to protect you.
What? Why? I didn't tell you anything. Why would they come after you?
Sounds like they're no strangers to you.
That's putting it mildly. I know them all too well, and I hate them with every fiber of my being. It's been 10 long years, and still every time I try to look into Caesar's death, they show up and warn me not to do anything stupid. How do I know I can trust you? Do you really think you can get to the bottom of it all? And why are you doing this?
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but I can promise you this. I will expose the Phantom Weasel's true identity. Because you see, this is a personal matter of the utmost importance. I give you my word. Trust me.
Okay. How can I help you?
I've heard that Caesar used to have a magic workshop where he kept a lot of his personal effects. If possible, I'd like to take a look at them. Do you know where it is?
The Fleuve Sonde. But the place was sealed up by the police after his death, and no one's been there since. I also know that the Fleuve Sonde is dangerous territory. Lots of hostile groups lurking around. If you're serious about going there, please be careful.
Understood. Lynette, you stay here and take care of Gemma. Don't let her come to harm.
Got it. But if I'm staying here, I'm ordering dessert.
I mean, bon appetit. But stay sharp, too. They're likely to come for you while I'm away.
Okay. Alright. Power saving mode off. I'll start taking this more seriously now.
Looks like no more free coffee for me. Coffee's life.
Ah. 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 Ah.
surprises. Quit following me.
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Huh. Looks like these boxes are blocking the entrance. Let's shift them away first. There we go. It should be just down here.
All right, let's head off.
Caesar's workshop. Nothing suspicious here, just normal magic props. Let's head in further. What was that? Oh, is this one of Caesar's gadgets? Guess we must have triggered some sort of device. Glowing! There's something written on the card on this doll. Let's take a closer look. These magic boxes are moving. What do we do?
One of them looks different from the rest. Let's investigate.
Got it. We're supposed to find the box that lit up at the start, right? There should be another wish list inside. Let's keep trying. weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. There's a distinct lack of mystery. We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. I'm starting to wonder whether Caesar built this whole place as one big, elaborate magic contraption. If so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe a hidden room somewhere. Aha! If I just move this book, then hopefully... and... presto!
A secret passageway! How did you know?
I'm a magician too, and apparently great minds really do think alike. Looks pretty big inside. Let's head in and take a look around.
Lenny? Is there some device in that box?
Huh. It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you guys go on ahead. If anyone makes a major discovery, let's rendezvous here.
All right. See you in a bit. Seems like we can't step on the same tile twice. Guess we've got to finish it in one run, huh?
Time to go.
Wow! There's a hidden room here! This book's thick as a brick! Let's take a peek inside it, shall we?
At one of my shows a few days ago, a child asked me how I pulled candy out of my hat. As a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. Next thing I know, today a whole bunch of kids were pestering me to pull all sorts of things out of the hat. So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. Well, they took me up on that offer, enthusiastically. As I write this, I've only just got back from running around all over town, buying the things they wanted. Boy, are my legs sore. I wound up saving very little this month, but that's not a major issue. I now have a bigger problem. How am I going to hide all these things inside my hat? Two children came to talk to me after today's show. I don't know why they were out on their own. They looked much too young to be unsupervised. I do hope they got home safely. Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. It's not uncommon for children to ask this, of course, but I've never seen any of them as serious about it as these two. I told them that learning magic is very hard work. That didn't faze them at all. It's like they already knew. They seemed so committed. I couldn't turn them down. It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately, but he won't open up to me about it. Surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those two children. I'll have to talk him around. I have a good feeling about those kids. They're naturally talented, and it seems like they're not new to the world of magic. They have all sorts of fantastic ideas. All I'm really doing is helping them develop a more professional standard training plan. They wanted to call me Master, but I told them they absolutely mustn't. Any magician worth their salt could have taught them what I have. They're the geniuses here. Compared to them, I don't deserve to be called any sort of master. With time, I have no doubt that they could become far greater magicians than I. My only concern is why they're so mature for their age. I fear they've had to grow up too fast. I don't dare to imagine what they must have been through. Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like being around them. Says that their eyes are too piercing. They don't bother me, but then again, I've never been the sharpest tool in the shed. It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I asked the two kids if they'd like to come with me, but they shook their heads. I once overheard them talking about their father and their mission. Sounds like their parents have other plans for them. I guess we'll be parting ways soon. It's only been 10 days since I first met them, but I think that I've gotten a feel for their personalities now. They're very tough, but also very cautious, and they trust no one but each other. This, I fear, is not a good habit to have. They hide things from me too. For example, when I asked them where they live and why they wanted to learn magic, they lied. That's the thing about children. Whenever they're trying to cover something up, it always shows somehow. I can sense that their lives have been hard, possibly even dangerous too. They're not like other children. It It's a shame that I can't do more to help them. After thinking things over, I decided to tell them a bit about how I see the world. It's full of lies and falsehoods, and that is why we must find our own truth. P.S. I hope they won't find my nagging annoying. Children are so opinionated nowadays. Will it do them more harm than good for someone they've only known 10 days to lecture them like that? P.P.S. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Children aren't interested in grand philosophies. It probably just went in one ear and out the other. I bet they've already forgotten every word I said. Oh, Caesar, Caesar. Just mind your own business next time.
Two magic geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like he was writing about Linny and Lynette, don't you think? So did they meet Caesar when they were kids? Let's go ask Linny!
Hold that thought. As I expected, there's a lot of fishy things going on in this place.
Fishy? Uh-oh, what have you found?
All in good time. Before we go over our new leads, I want to tell you how a high-altitude escape is performed. First, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view of the audience. The box is then suspended high in the air, and a short while later, the base automatically opens. At this point, a dummy will fall out of the box, but it looks real enough to grab the audience's attention, and they start wailing and screaming. Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended into the crowd, waits for a good moment to make their appearance and put on a hysterical performance. Oh no! Is that me? Did I just fall to my death?
Very vivid description. Paimon can really picture it. And then what?
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the time they realize what's happened, the dummy has vanished, as if everything that just happened was some sort of shared illusion. Of course, that's just how I think the process should work, theoretically speaking. The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. When the box opened, Caesar was the one who fell out, and not the dummy. He fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. No one could hope to survive that fall, not without a vision at least. And no one else has ever attempted this trick since. My understanding of how it works is just based on what I could gather from his notes and the relevant gadgets here in his workshop.
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape has never been done, huh? Paimon was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person, but If it's that dangerous, it's probably for the best that no one else tries to do it. Wait a second. So if a dummy's supposed to drop out of the box, then where does the real magician go? How does he get out?
Glad you asked. That brings us to the secret of said box. This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance, and it's not as simple as it looks. Inside, there's a device that only the magician himself would know about. Once the magician's inside and the box is lifted up into the air, the audience's view of the box is fixed at a certain angle. From where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides, and bottom, but the back and the top are now no longer visible. At this point, the magician presses a button inside the box, opening a secret door out of view. He then escapes through this trap door onto the opera house roof, waits for the dummy to fall and distract the audience, and quietly returns to ground level.
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined. Even Paimon could probably do it.
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. The hardest part of this trick is controlling the audience's mood and reactions. That takes an exceptional degree of showmanship. There's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Maybe the magician would even have themselves tied up before it begins to strengthen the impression that there's no escape. Many days and nights of careful research and painstaking practice would have gone into this, all culminating in a performance just a few minutes long, but one that still manages to transform the shock and grief of a tragic accident to the joy and laughter of a mesmerizing magic trick. Caesar was a highly accomplished magician. But unfortunately, even he didn't manage to pull it off.
So, how did it go so wrong? You said you found some fishy stuff here. Have you figured out what really happened?
I can make a pretty good guess. I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the right-hand side. And, sure enough, he always used his right hand as his dominant hand in public.
Okay. Nothing suspicious there.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here, which leads me to believe that Caesar was in fact left-handed. Because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. People naturally focus their attention on the most important details of the task or situation at hand. But a magician needs to be able to redirect an audience's attention at will, so as to avoid arousing their suspicion. The essence of magic is getting people to believe a lie. If even the truth raises eyebrows, the falsehoods become all the more difficult to mask. And so, Caesar trained himself to use his right hand to align with his audience's expectations. Great magic always requires sacrifices. But in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one was watching, reflex would kick in and he'd use his left hand. That's why he set his gadgets with the mechanism on his left. Exactly. I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. He'd have had mere seconds to open the hidden compartment, retrieve the dummy, then open the secret door and make a swift escape. But I'm sure he was confident. He would have rehearsed countless times to the point where it was second nature. He'd barely need to think about what he was doing because muscle memory would guide him through. So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything was in order, and then went to leave. With his left hand, he reached for the button, and suddenly, his heart skipped a beat. It wasn't there. Much like when you reach for your keys but find your pocket empty, his mind needed a moment to process what was going on. Instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing button, maybe for another second or two, until the bottom of the box gave way. With the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay cost him everything. The authorities would find nothing suspicious and conclude that his death was due to his own error.
When in reality, someone switched the boxes, and they did it to murder him. But how would they be able to make the switch without being noticed? That would be difficult to pull off, no?
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was left-handed, and who could move his props around without arousing suspicion. Someone who was always by his side. Isn't that right, Lorenzo?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs lie, could you? There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. I didn't want to have to do this, you know. Silencing you the hard way just creates more problems for me to deal with. But I gave you your chance. I hoped you'd do what's good for you and back off like the lady, but you disappoint me.
You mean Gemma? So you are the one who's been threatening her!
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, she was never much of a liability. But you people, you never even knew him, but for some reason you just wouldn't drop it. Which is why you can't leave this place alive. Take them out, and make it quick.
Do your worst!
And voila! Oh.
Let's get this show on the road.
You kids are tougher than you look.
Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't help you now. I think it's high time you started talking, and what I'd really like to know is, why did you murder Caesar?
If I had a Mora for every time you said that man's name. Of course you idolize Caesar, everyone else did. But I was the real genius magician. Me! He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic into the fine art it is today. The aristocrats doffed their hats to me!
So it was jealousy.
Jealousy. Hatred, more like. I hated Caesar. All he cared about was his magic. He lived and breathed it. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just a hobby to him, never bothering to think about Mora. What sort of fool devotes their life to the art of deception and never has a Mora to show for it? But the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. No one gave me a second look. All I ever heard was, "Oh, your master's amazing, isn't he?" Amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all the skills, and it brought me nothing more than the life I already had. He forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their Mora. There was nothing he hated more than that. And with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he was alive, if I dabbled in my own brand of money-making magic, he would expose me, and it would destroy me. I had to kill him. There was no other way. He had to go.
And this was your only motive?
It was reason enough. What other motive would I need?
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play. For instance, maybe you were in love with Gemma, but she was engaged to Caesar.
In love with Gemma? Don't be ridiculous.
Guess I was wrong about that then. Next question. Are you the Phantom Weasel?
I am. Caesar was so strict with me. He insisted that his way was the right way, that the sole purpose of magic was to bring joy to the world. I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical value of magic. Sure enough, it helped me fill my pockets with all kinds of valuable treasures.
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the weasel would steal whatever people valued, no matter how much it was worth.
That's just how it looked from the outside. What would any thief want with second-rate loot? I've only ever targeted high-value items. I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my craft. It was other people's overactive imaginations that conjured up the preposterous image they then dubbed the Phantom Weasel.
So, that's the story, huh? Well, I hope you're ready to tell it all over again during your trial.
What choice do I have? You're a pack of wolves, and you've got me between your jaws. You've seen what's here, and my last-ditch effort to stop it getting out has failed. What else can I do? So be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last 10 years, the likes of which Caesar could never give me. I wouldn't choose for things to end this way, but I regret nothing.
Very well. In that case, I'll contact the guards. Traveler, Paimon, keep an eye on Lorenzo for me. I'll meet you just outside the workshop when I'm back.
Lini has told me the whole story. Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of Caesar and to framing him for the Phantom Weasel's crimes?
Look who's finally developed a conscience. What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it, because there'll be hell to pay.
Looks like it's all over. What should we do next, Lenny? Should we start preparing for your show?
Let me think. Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first. With Lorenzo in custody, Gemma will no longer have to fear for her safety.
Good point! We should go tell Gemma the good news right away! It'll give her some peace of mind for sure!
Shine down!
This had better be important. Too slow. The wind rises.
back. You were so quick. I've only just finished my third dessert.
Your third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this. Everything in moderation. You're not gonna have any room left for dinner now.
It's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the excess sugar.
That's besides the point. Well, it's done now. But try to eat a more balanced diet in the future.
Point taken.
Did everything go okay?
Of course! Lorenzo was no match for us. The guards are taking him into custody as we speak.
Gosh, that's amazing. I'm sorry, I still didn't know if I could trust you, but now it seems I can. I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but I...
It's okay, we understand. He did threaten you. Paimon would find it hard to trust strangers in your position too. But you don't need to be scared anymore. Everything's gonna be okay.
Sorry. Sorry. My emotions are all over the place right now. I've been waiting for this day to come for so long. I always wanted to report Lorenzo. He took all of Caesar's property, which I found suspicious, but I had people watching me all the time, so I couldn't risk looking into it. I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something terrible to me, and then no one would be left to visit Caesar's grave. So I never had the courage to speak out. Thank you all. Truly. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed any signs that there were problems between him and Caesar in public. From the outside, it looked like they got along great. And to think that lowlife's been living life to the fullest all this time, while Caesar's name was getting dragged through the mud. It's a travesty. At least his soul can finally rest in peace now, thanks to your efforts.
If only I'd realized before it was too late.
Don't blame yourself, Gemma. This isn't your fault.
Yeah, you still have the rest of your life to live. Caesar wouldn't want to see you spending it feeling guilty.
Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the Opera House tomorrow evening. Would you like to come along? It might raise your spirits. This show will be a special one. We're holding it in Caesar's honor.
In Caesar's honor? Really? Thank you. I'll be there.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Traveler, Paimon, don't be late.
Don't worry, we'll be there. No way are we gonna miss out on a free magic show. Wait, Paimon feels like we're forgetting something. Oh yeah, Caesar's diary! We never found out if the two kids Caesar taught magic to were living...
You think I've got a sharp tongue? I just tell it like it is. If someone can't handle it, maybe that's their problem. Fury! Behold! Too slow. Quit following me. Squall and Fury! Behold!
Paimon's excited to see another of Linny's magic shows! Wait. Lynette, shouldn't you be on stage by now?
Not this time. My brother's going solo today. So, I'll be watching with you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's ready because the show is about to begin. The great magician Linny has prepared a spectacular show for us all tonight, concluding with an all-new grand finale that no audience has ever seen before.
Wow! A new trick!
Thank you all so much for coming. Now, prepare to join me on a journey through the mystical and miraculous.
Exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yes, it's just... It reminds me of him.
No wonder. Caesar was a famous magician too. So, how did you two first meet, Gemma?
Well, I was out on the street once, and I saw him performing for little children. Children love magic, because they're willing to believe in things that can't be rationally explained. Caesar had this amazing way of bringing them into a dreamlike world. And somehow, I felt drawn to him too. So I went up and asked him to do a trick for me.
Aw, that sounds so romantic. What trick did he do?
It was with a flower. He took it in his hand, snapped his fingers, and it magically appeared on my head. I was so happy that day. No one had ever given me a flower before that.
Oh, that's so cute! Actually, now that you mention it, Linny's done that one before.
Is that right? Then I suppose he's a romantic at heart, just like Caesar. So let's treasure the time we have with him. After all, you know...
That's right. It's all over now. Paimon doesn't really know how to comfort you, but at the very least, no one's gonna be intimidating you from now on. You can breathe easy at last, right?
Right. Yes, you can breathe easy now, Phantom Weasel.
See? Even Lynette says... Wait, what? The Phantom Weasel? Lorenzo escaped? Where is he?
What do you mean, Phantom Weasel?
As Linny once said, a performer's job is to commit fully to their role and put on a flawless performance for their audience. But once the bag of tricks is empty and the curtain falls, it's time to end the show. The spotlight is no place for someone with no more cards up their sleeve. It's been 10 years, Gemma. Aren't you tired of the grieving widow act? I think it's time to put an end to it.
What are you talking about? Paimon doesn't like this riddle. Traveler, Paimon doesn't like where this is going. Come on, say something!
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all enjoying the performance so far. There will now be a brief intermission, after which Linny will perform the most electrifying act of tonight's show, the one we've all been waiting for. The final performance will take place outside of the Opera House, so please make your way outside in a calm and orderly fashion.
The Phantom Weasel never did like public places, did they? Don't worry, this place will be quiet soon. Let's talk somewhere else for now.
Swan Fury!
Dear me, this is awkward, isn't it? And unfortunately, I'm all out of gadgets, so I'm afraid I can't do any tricks to liven up the mood. This is a big mistake for a magician to make, but thankfully, I do have a backup plan. Now, who wants to hear a story?
Linny, don't we have more important things to address right now? Lynette accused Gemma of being the real Phantom Weasel a moment ago. Oh, what the heck's going on?
All in good time. Magicians are good at guessing what people are thinking. I know the questions you want to ask. And as it happens, the story I'm about to tell might answer a few of them.
Really? Well then, let's hear it! Paimon's dying of curiosity here!
Let's go back to the very beginning. A decade ago, when the Phantom Weasel was terrorizing the court of Fontaine. She never missed a target, never left a trace, and no treasure was safe from her thieving hands. But as her infamy grew, so did the readiness of the police, and her opportunities to act became ever fewer. Every day, she ran the risk of being exposed for who she was. Of course, she could not simply take this lying down, and before long, she found her ticket to freedom. She would create a scapegoat, a false weasel to close the chapter on her behalf. After weighing her options, she set her sights on a renowned magician, Caesar. After all, magic and theft shared enough similarities for people to buy the story when the truth came out.
So then what?
Being the master deceiver she was, the weasel easily earned Caesar's trust. Now all that remained was to frame him for her countless crimes. But as she was considering how to make her move, she noticed Caesar's aggrieved pupil, and a new thought entered her mind. Maybe I don't need to get my hands dirty after all. At her encouragement, Lorenzo tampered with Caesar's magic box, causing him to fall to his death. Afterwards, Lorenzo seized his master's property, and the weasel set about tarnishing Caesar's reputation. Two co-conspirators committed the perfect crime.
I've got to hand it to you. You're both exceptional storytellers. It's enough to make even me wonder whether there was really another mastermind behind all this, pulling the strings. But I just have one question. You seem to think that I am the villain in this tale. What's brought this on, Linny? Is it something that Lorenzo said?
Don't worry, Lorenzo said nothing at all. But I never believed that he was the weasel, and in fact, my investigation only made me more certain of that. He was too forthcoming with his confession, as if there was something else he was trying to hide.
How disappointing. So you'd sooner trust Lorenzo than me? even without a shred of evidence?
A magician is an expert at playing the audience to get the result they want. And I have no doubt that you, Gemma, are equally talented in this regard. With a little help from Lorenzo, you put on a very convincing performance. The lovesick fiancé, whose devotion to her betrothed is unshakable, even under threats of violence. Caesar was maligned and hated by all for 10 years, but you? Everyone sympathized with your plight. Who would suspect for 1 second that the lovely young lady always seen weeping in front of Caesar's grave was actually the mastermind behind his demise? No, not that poor lady. Perish the thought.
Wait, so you mean the whole intimidation thing was just a hoax? Gemma and Lorenzo were both in on it? But why would Lorenzo agree to that? And why didn't he sell her out even at the end instead of admitting to being the weasel himself?
Yes, why indeed? Maybe Gemma herself could enlighten us on that question.
Well, Linny, if you're so confident in your version of events, then I think the answer should be obvious. Having killed Caesar with his own hands, Lorenzo was plagued by overwhelming guilt. Revealing the Phantom Weasel's true identity would serve no purpose. But if the Weasel remained free, then she could take care of Lorenzo's loved ones.
An excellent answer, though sadly a little dull.
Is that right? Well, don't let me bore you. If you'd care to change the topic to something more interesting, I'd be much obliged.
As a matter of fact, there's one thing I'd really like to understand. Why would the real Weasel have targeted things that only have value to other people? Could you shed any light on that?
Of course. After all, we're just telling stories here, aren't we? If I had to guess, I would say that the real Weasel must have had a terrible childhood. Left to fend for herself after her parents died young. Betrayed, scorned, beaten. She'd scrounge waste paper from garbage bins to draw on, using twigs and dirt for lack of ink and pen. She'd sew ugly rag dolls from whatever scrap material she could get her hands on. This was her only source of happiness in life. But it was all she needed, and she was content. Until the world decided that even this was too good for her. Once again, she was betrayed. And this time, everything was taken from her. She felt like life was a miry pit that dragged her further down the more she struggled to escape. At that tender age, she should have been happy. Instead, she stood in the shadows and watched with envy as all good things in the world passed her by. This was a fate too cruel for anyone to bear. Her pain became a breeding ground for dark thoughts. Thoughts which festered and grew into a twisted solution to her troubles. I detest the happiness of others, in all its forms alike. I will rob them of everything they hold to be good and true, and it will fill the void in my soul.
That's some pretty heavy stuff.
Now it all makes...
Does this story satisfy you, Linny?
Yes, it is quite to my tastes. Thank you for helping to clear up my confusion.
Huh. That's right! What drove you to write that letter, Ma? What were you... Without that, none of this would have ever come to light!
She didn't write the letter.
After 10 long years, I'd hoped that the Phantom Weasel would be consigned to the history books by now. But it seems like someone still wasn't ready to let her finally be at peace. Linny. Or should I call you the Phantom Copycat now? You were the one who posted that letter outside the Opera House. But why?
Very sharp, Phantom Weasel. Still as shrewd as ever. Well, no need for me to be coy about it. Our goal was to clear Caesar's name. The most straightforward way to change the public's impression of Caesar was to force the Weasel to show themselves.
That's it? You had no other agenda?
Of course we did. We made it quite clear in the letter, I believe. I shall take from you that which you hold most dear, just as you did to me 10 years ago.
10 years ago? You mean Caesar's death? You met him? Wait. Oh, I get it. You were those two obnoxious kids. It's been so long, and you're all grown up now. I didn't recognize you. He taught you magic back then, didn't he? For what, 10 days or something? And you went to all this trouble. Why? Because you feel like you still owe him something?
We remember all our debts, however great or small. 10 years ago, Caesar's reputation was torn to shreds, and his legacy was thrown out. 10 years on, and no one cares what the truth is anymore. But we did not forget, and so we came to find you.
And? What exactly did you take from me? I'm still standing, as you can see. Lorenzo has admitted to everything. I'm free.
Free? Do you really think so? Caesar once told me that even though the world is filled with lies and falsehoods, we must find our own truth. I think that applies to you too. Truth can take many forms. Prized possessions with nostalgic value, fervent hopes and dreams, and irreplaceable people. Life took many things from you, and those wounds never healed. When they ached unbearably in the dead of night, stealing became your way of numbing the pain.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that for the last 10 years, you've been living a rather uneventful life. Perhaps that's because you found something other than a life of crime to fill the hole? Back to Lorenzo for a second. He murdered his own master, played along with your act, and took pains to make sure any suspicion would be directed towards him. But what did he have to gain from all that? He knew who you were and the things you'd done, and despite that, he was willing to give everything up for your sake. He's the reason that you haven't felt the compulsion to steal in all these years. You're more than just accomplices in murder. You're the only real friends each other has. So I think you know, deep down, that he is the only truth you have in your life. But that truth is gone now, and I guarantee you'll never see it again.
Congratulations on your freedom, Gemma.
Your freedom will cost you dearly. From now on, you'll be all alone in a world full of lies and falsehoods. I do hope you'll be able to bear it. You've still got a long life ahead of you after all.
Gather round, one and all. The time has now come for the amazing Linny to perform his final act in tonight's show. I'm sure you're all wondering what he has planned for the grand finale. Well, wonder no more, for the answer is a death-defying high-altitude escape.
A high-altitude escape?
I'm sure you all remember the magician Caesar. This was the very trick that led to his fatal fall, after which he was dubbed the Phantom Weasel. But we have now learned that Caesar was wrongly accused, and that the real Weasel has now confessed to their crimes.
Guess that's my cue to leave. Whew. I've been practicing this one for ages now, but I'm still a little nervous. Traveler, Paimon, I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. There may be a lot of people watching tonight, but you alone are my true witnesses.
Lenny, wait. You two hid a lot from Caesar. He went to his grave without ever knowing your secrets. So what about now? Are you an open book? Or are you still the same as ever? You don't have to tell lies to end up isolated and alone. One day, you'll end up exactly where I am today. Maybe then you'll finally understand.
You're wrong. I'm nothing like you.
So, what are we, doing now?
Like Lenny said, when you're ready, let's head outside and watch the show.
But what about Gemma?
She'll figure out what's best for her soon enough. Oh, and if you'd like to see Lenny after the show, you know where he'll be. The usual haunt.
Alright. Well, let's go and watch Lenny's finale then. This trick's a pretty dangerous one, but he should be able to pull it off, right?
Quit following me.
Magic should be mysterious, surprising, and defy logic. Magic is hard work. Every single movement has to be practiced thousands of times.
It's alright. We're used to that.
We're sorry. You've taught us so much, but we can't tell you the whole truth.
It's okay. Do you still remember what I told you? This world is full of lies and falsehoods. I only hope that one day, you can find your own truth.
What about you? Have you found your truth?
Magic is my truth. I want to perform a magic trick so great that people will always think of me when they talk about it. For a magician, what greater honor could there be?
Look! Behold! Lenny is sealed inside the box. Will he manage to escape? 10 years ago, Caesar attempted this very trick, and it was at this precise moment that...
Watch out!
Mysterious. Surprising. And logic-defying. Isn't that right? This honor belongs to you, Caesar. I'm just sorry it's a little late.
Did you see that? One minute he was falling, and the next, he turned into flowers.
How could he possibly have done that?
How mysterious. I didn't blink once. He just vanished, right in front of my eyes.
What a heart-stopping magic show! This was really worth the trip. Caesar's name has finally been cleared, and Fontaine's new star magician Linny has fulfilled a wish on his behalf. Oh, I couldn't ask for a better grand finale. It will make a great headline for the Steambird tomorrow, even if I do say so myself.
Looks like everyone really loved Linny's grand finale. Paimon doesn't see Linny anywhere. Where'd he go? Oh, Lynette said he'd be waiting for us at the usual hunt. But, where is that? Oh, you mean the one where Caesar's buried? Yeah, that's probably it. This whole magic show kinda seemed like Linny's way of saying goodbye to Caesar. So it makes sense that that's where he'd be afterward. Alright, let's go look for him there.
The wind rises.
Are you alright? Paimon was scared to death when the chain broke. Paimon was sure something had gone horribly wrong.
Magic is a performance art. A magician has to get creative to keep the audience on tenterhooks. That's our job. So I tweaked Caesar's original setup a little to keep it fresh. I was honestly a little nervous during the live performance. The thought of falling, suddenly feeling weightless, seeing the sky and the ground spinning and spinning. Sometimes, I can't help but wonder what Caesar thought in those final moments. Did he regret taking Gemma and Lorenzo on? Or did he believe that it was his own slip-up right until the end?
You know, Paimon's been wanting to ask you about something ever since we were in Caesar's workshop. You learned magic from Caesar once, didn't you? When was that?
After I joined the House of the Hearth. To be honest, Lynette and I had an agenda when we approached him. I told you about my past before, remember? As a young boy, I survived by secretly learning magic from street performers. I'd watch their tricks and try to figure out how they were done. But I quickly realized that observation alone could only get me so far. What I saw was the polished final performance, but the rigorous training they put in behind the scenes remained invisible to me. I needed to learn how to improve my sleight of hand, hone my misdirection skills, and make niftier props. We were gifted enough that we'd made some progress by ourselves, but without proper guidance from a professional magician, we quickly plateaued.
So that's why you sought Caesar out?
Yes. We figured there was no harm in asking, but it took us by surprise that he was so willing to teach us. In all, we only spent 10 short days together, but he was very good to us. By contrast, we hid so many things from him. For instance, when he asked why I wanted to learn magic, I answered, "It's my passion." But in truth, there was already a lot more to the story by then. After being taken in by an aristocrat for our magic talent, then betrayed soon after, this was no longer about me doing what I loved. What amazed me was how the lie escaped my lips even as I was hesitating over whether to tell him the truth. Trust is a beautiful thing. Sadly, I'd forgotten how to trust by then.
Lenny.
Still worried about the way I feel? You really are a gentle soul, aren't you? But don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the House of the Hearth, lies and selfishness have followed me and Lynette everywhere we go. After Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. The next we heard of him was that he'd fallen to his death, and was now declared to be the Phantom Weasel. That night, I remembered his smile. But as I lay there, I didn't know what to say to him. To keep secrets is to put up walls. The longer you keep them up, the less you let people in. Then, one day, you look around and realize your life is like an empty auditorium after a show, full of seats once occupied by all the people who left. But I guess that's the price we have to pay. You only realize how much someone really meant to you when you lose them completely. That's why I was so confident this would hurt Gemma. Because I felt it for myself.
Yeah, cheer up, Lenny. We've had to say our fair share of goodbyes during our journey, too. But whatever happens, Paimon always believes in what tomorrow brings. Delicious food, fun toys, and the traveler by my side. Paimon just needs to focus on things like this, and all the unhappy stuff goes right out the window. You know, Traveler, doesn't that kind of make you Paimon's truth?
Exactly. It's the same for me and Lynette. We are the truest thing each other has in the world, and nothing can replace that. Life has taken plenty from us, like it did from Gemma. But at least it left us with each other. That's what gave us the strength to get through the darkest days. That's why the darkness never consumed me, and why it never will. Maybe we live in the shadows too, but we remember every precious ray of light that shines through. Alright, time to lighten this conversation up a little. What did you think of the show tonight? Were you happy with it?
It was amazing! Paimon just wishes we hadn't been so distracted with the Gemma situation. We spent most of our time in the Opera House just talking and pretty much missed the entire first half of the show. Lenny, could you do just one more trick for us?
Whoa, that's a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are decidedly card-free right now.
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something. The Lenny Paimon knows can do anything if he puts his mind to it.
Oh, alright then. I'll give it a go, but only because it's you. Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand! We ain't going along with this!
Huh? My goodness, you're right. But I could have sworn I brought one here with me. Okay, try this. Count down with me. 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1!
Now, have another look around. Maybe the flowers appeared somewhere else.
Really? Let's see. Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a different flower from the last time, right? This one's called, oh yeah, a a rainbow rose. But more importantly, Paimon has to know how the trick is done. Please, Linny, pretty please!
Well, if you want to learn magic, you'll have to start by addressing me as teacher.
Fine. Please, teacher, please!
Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you. Namely, the student of magic cannot solely rely on others being prepared to reveal their secrets. You have to observe, think, and find the answers for yourself.
Is that it?
Look at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my show. I bid you both good night. I look forward to seeing you again.
Alright, fine. See ya! Shall we head back down too? Paimon can't wait to read the Steambird tomorrow. Paimon bets Linny and Caesar will be plastered all over it. Let's head to the Steambird's offices tomorrow morning and see what we can find out.
There's no such thing as pure freedom in this world. Even the wind cannot blow on forever. Relax. You think I've got a sharp tongue? I just tell it like it is. If someone can't handle it, maybe that's their problem.